I've had a busy day. I went to the cinema today to see WALL-E. And I went for two reasons. One, because the movie looked really cute. And I like Pixar films and animated films, so I thought I'd check it out. And second of all, because I realised I hadn't actually been to the cinema since I'd seen Sex and the City. That's the only film I'd seen, and I missed the beginning of that. So I thought, I need to go to the cinema again. But of course I wanted to watch something that I wanted to watch. I didn't want to just go for the hell of it. So I decided to see WALL-E. And it was really good. But I'll talk about that in a bit. There's a few things I want to mention first. So if anybody who hasn't seen WALL-E yet or wants to see WALL-E, I'll let you know when I start talking about it, obviously. I've actually already taken that off my list because this is the second time I'm doing this because the first one screwed up and whatnot. But I actually took off two things from my list because I also drank in the cinema, which is something I don't do. I don't drink. I haven't actually had much to drink since getting to Chippenham. Like once I went to Chippenham and I managed to have 2 sips of water. This time I actually had a lot more whilst I was in the cinema, so I'm really pleased about that. Okay, the day sort of started when I went into town and found out there was a motorcycle rally, which we actually hold every single year in Caen, where motorcycle enthusiasts comes around and there's big gatherings, there's loads of motorcycles everywhere, they take up all the space on the roads, parking and everything, and they even had a band. So while I was waiting for the bus there was this band playing, a local band I'm guessing, playing cover songs and stuff, but pretty good. But I got out of there. It's a good thing, that it's kind of a good thing because it really is crowded. I was so surprised I found anywhere to park my bike. And sat next to a guy on the bus who had a dog, and a little doggy, who was so cute, called Snowy apparently. But when I got into Chippenham, I actually got early because this time I was being smart. I decided I was going to get not the bus that would get me there just, you know, just enough time for the doors to open, but the one that was going to get me there with about half an hour to spare because I wouldn't want to risk missing anything. So I got there and I waited and I queued up and I remembered why it's a good thing to have people there with you. Because waiting for a film to start is boring. Because you can't play Sudoku whilst you're waiting because the lights are too bad, and I didn't have any music to listen to, so yeah, I did not miss that. Saw 2 previews. One was for Star Wars Clone Wars, which is animated, and don't think I'll be seeing that. And the one for Star Trek, the new Star Trek movie, saying it was under construction. I still haven't decided whether I want to see this or not. I'll decide once I've actually seen a trailer, because at the moment, no. Anyway, afterwards I had to do some shopping, because I had the whole rest of the afternoon, so I thought, hey, I'm in Chippenham and there's things I need to get, so. And of course, after I saw the film, I just had to buy a little WALL-E. Isn't he cute? I had to construct him myself by putting his arms and legs on. But WALL-E and his arms open and closed. I knew I couldn't find a cuddly WALL-E, and plus it would look weird, so I thought I'm going to buy a figure of him. He's so cute. You can also get an Eve, but I thought I'd just buy a WALL-E. Mostly because I also decided to buy this. A TARDIS bag! Which is designed for kids, for them to sort of pull along when they go on holiday. And I don't care, because I wanted it. And I can store things in it. So I thought that was awesome. I just had to have that. And the other thing I bought... Ah! Okay, the other thing I bought was an iPod Shuffle. Which I'm so ashamed to say I just dropped in a cup of tea that was beside my bed. But I'm hoping it's okay. It is the tiniest iPod I've ever seen. And it was real cheap, which is actually one of the reasons I bought it. That and because it stores... It's 2 gigs of memory. And that's all I really need. That's all I really wanted, because I only listen to music at work. And it's green. You could choose the colours. And I'm going to play around that later. But as for the film, WALL-E, in basic terms, is about WALL-E's the last robot left on Earth to tidy it up, because it's become completely full of debris. And all humans have gone off on these ships where they basically have all grown fat and don't do anything. Robots completely do everything for them. And WALL-E meets Eve, who is sent down to look for green life on Earth, and he ends up going to the relationship with her afterwards. And Wally is so cute, and it's amazing how you can have a film that has so little dialogue, and it really does, especially to start with. And the only things that Wally and Eve can actually say is each other's name. They can say their own names, but they don't say their own names. They just say each other's names, and they can't really say anything else. There's not anything clearly. And of course it sounds very robotic, so they don't have, you know, human voices like cars or anything. They actually sound like robots, and I think that's what makes, I like that. And the animation is amazing for Earth and the robots and space. It's beautiful, and you've got some wonderful moments. And it's amazing how you can feel all gooey about a relationship between two little robots. And it really is. It's a love story between two little robots, and it's wonderful. And I thought it was so sweet. But if you are a big fan of dialogue, then you may not like this film. Because I can understand why some people would have thought it was kind of slow, because at the beginning, you know, there's not a lot of talking, it's mostly just watching. But that's what I love, is the fact that you have two characters who don't really talk, which means that most of everything you convey has to come from action, because communication has very little to do with words, what we actually say. So to have characters who are robots, who portray various different emotions on little robotic faces, and don't even say much, and yet still convey so much, and you still understand. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how that was done. And I definitely liked it. I thought it was very good. It had one of those sort of typical endings. I don't know about endings, but it had one of those typical moments where it's like they're back and forth. You know, oh dear, are they getting destroyed? You know, they have to try and. You know, they think they're getting somewhere, then they go back, and then they're getting somewhere, and it's all like right at the end. It's like so it's quite gripping at times, and it's got very few voices on. Some of the humans talk. It's got John Ratzenberger, which isn't a surprise since he does a lot of animated voices. He was in Cars, Toy Story, Monsters Inc. He's done a lot of voices. So overall, I think Wall-E was really good, and I would certainly recommend anybody to go and see it if they're, like I say, willing to put up with a film that doesn't have a lot of dialogue, but is still a very good film. Trust me.